Slicing through Earth's atmosphere, the sleek silver spacecraft's hull shimmered with an unearthly iridescence. Luna was standing tall in the command center, her blue skin glowing in the ship's general illumination. She studied the faces of her elite group of Amazonian warriors with her piercing violet eyes. "Sisters," Luna called out, straightforward, concise, and authoritative. "Our goal is to quickly and effectively dominate this primitive world. Recall your instruction and be unforgiving. We'll bring this planet to its knees by striking at the center of their biggest city." A chorus of yes answers reverberated throughout the room. Luna. She allowed herself a contented little smile. Earth would soon be theirs. Mike Stevens let out a moan when his alarm went off, the annoying noise piercing his head. As he reached for his phone, he accidentally knocked over an empty beer can. Fantastic. Beginning to yet another exciting day in paradise, he thought, with a snarky demeanor, getting out of bed. Mike's thoughts drifted to the soul-crushing tedium that awaited him at work as he went about his daily routine. More data entry, office politics, and pretending to be interested in TPS reports. He pondered sometimes if being abducted by aliens might be a welcome change. Of speed. Mike had no idea that the cosmos had a dark sense of humor and was about to fulfill his dream. Mike, holding on to his coffee as if it were a lifeline, staggered along the congested city sidewalk. He was already irritated by the din of construction and the sound of honking cars. He was so engrossed in his own suffering that he nearly failed to notice the chuckle that went about him. Day gave way to night for a brief instant as a brilliant flare lit up the sky. Mike's head jolted up, forgetting his coffee, as he looked in shock at the enormous thing flying toward the direction of the city center. "Oh, Mikey, odd," he exhaled. "Either that, or we're going to have some extremely special guests arrive, like the largest shooting star in the planet." The realization that this was not a natural occurrence caused panic to break out in the streets. Screams erupted as both cars and people scurried to get away from the impact region. However, Mike was immobile, unable to take his eyes off the show that was taking place. As it descended the spacecraft, and Mike was certain now that it was a spacecraft, performed a number of inconceivable maneuvers. It moved gracefully. Something disregarded the rules of physics and gently came to rest in the center of the now deserted town square. Everything was deathly still for a time. Then a hatch opened in the vessel's side, accompanied by a hiss of depressurizing air. Mike was astounded at the first A figure showed up. Girl was tall, easily over 6 feet, with a lithe, athletic physique that spoke of enormous strength and agility. And it was definitely a girl. But it was her complexion, a deep, vivid blue that seemed to sparkle in the sunlight, that really drew his attention. As other examples of as the alien fighters left the ship, Mike's mind found it difficult to take in what he was seeing. His pulse raced at the sight of them all, as they were all women and had unearthly beauty. However, their captain was the one who really made him gasp. With an imperious glance, she stood at the front, surveying the area with her keen, regal features framed by cascading waves of silvery hair. Mike got the impression of being hit by lightning when her eyes, which were a captivating shade of violet, latched into his. He stepped forward without realizing it. The alien leader's eyes widened a little, obviously not anticipating to see a human remaining. They only looked at one another for a heartbeat, amongst themselves. She then grinned, much to Mike's surprise. Allie, though it wasn't quite a warm smile, there was still a hint of predatory intent. It was sincere, and it made her already gorgeous face even more amazing. The first thing Mike blurted out before he could stop himself, that struck me. "So, how often do you come here?" The extraterrestrial cocked her head, scowling. "I'm not sure I get it. We are new visitors to your world." Mike couldn't contain his laughter. I apologize for the poor humor. You're Mike and me too. I am Luna, the absolute, she responded, commander of the Galactic Amazonian Armada, with a melodic lilt in her voice that made Mike shudder. Our mission is to subjugate your planet. Ah, Mike wisely nodded. Let me just say, as Earth's official welcoming committee, please don't. We have a certain bond with the location. Although Luna's eyes narrowed, there was a hint of enjoyment hidden there. Mike of Earth, you are either very brave or very foolish. Why not both? He asked, attempting to hide his mounting anxiety with a smile. So, Luna, what intentions do you have after the whole human enslavement thing? Since I am aware they make a killer latte at this nice little coffee shop around the street. A warrior with a fierce appearance approached Luna with an explosive expression. My lady, let's finish this arrogant man and move on with our mission. However, Luna silenced her subordinate by raising a hand. Zara, peace. I find this person fascinating. She turned to face Mike again, a daring sparkle in her eye. Mike from Earth, tell me why your world should be spared. Mike's thoughts were racing. Though he was aware that he was treading carefully, he couldn't get rid of the sensation that there was something unique about this interaction. To begin with, the arts, music, and literature that exist on Earth are very remarkable. Do you women have any pizza experience? Because believe me, that is reason enough to protect the Earth. Luna's expression flashed with curiosity. Pizza. What kind of pizza are you eating? Talk about? Mike smiled, saying, Oh, man, you're in for a treat. Imagine the tastiest thing you've ever tasted, then magnify that by 1,000. That's how it works. We could get a bite to eat, see a movie, engage in some cultural dialogue, etc. Far more enjoyable than world dominance, if you inquire. Luna's mouth quirked as she tried to suppress a smile. Mike from Earth, you are indeed the odd one. Maybe your species is more diverse than we first thought. The unexpected blaring of sirens broke the scene. Troops were erupting from their position as military trucks approached, had their guns drawn. Luna's body tensed for battle, her expression hardening. However, there was a softening in her gaze as she turned to face Mike. With remorse in her voice, she continued, It appears that our conversation needs to be interrupted. Regretfully. I'm interested in this world you live in. In an attempt to buy some time, Mike said, Hey, there's no reason it has to end here. Why don't the women take a pass on the entire invasion situation? Return in a week or two, and I'll show you the highlights of Earth. VIP excursion. Momentarily, Luna appeared to think about what he said. Subsequently, she decisively nodded and faced her warriors. Sisters, let's go for the moment. There is still a lot we don't know about this world. We'll get back together and review our plan. Luna hesitated as the Amazons started to file back into their ship at the doorway. Mike felt his pulse skip a beat as she regarded him with an intense glare. Until we cross paths again, Earth's Mike. I'm interested in finding out more about your pizza. After then, she vanished into the ship. The engines started up, and within a short matter of seconds, the spacecraft had disappeared into the sky, leaving a military force that was traumatized and a crowd that was in shock. With a silly smile on his face, Mike remained there, gazing at the empty pot where the ship once stood. The most amazing day ever. Soldiers surrounded the spot and yelled questions. With insistence on answers, Mike was unable to get rid of the impression that his life had suddenly taken an interesting turn. He was going on a date with Destiny, and she was gorgeous, blue, and maybe intent on taking over the world. In the life of accidental star diplomat Mike Stevens, just another Tuesday. For Mike, the days after the alien encounter were a blur. Every federal agency with an acronym had questioned him, and he had pledged to secrecy. Nevertheless, he couldn't help but share a heavily edited selfie of himself with the spaceship in the background, which quickly made him an overnight social media phenomenon. However, Mike felt strangely dissatisfied as the immediate thrill subsided. He continued to look up into the sky, expecting to catch a glimpse of that elegant spaceship. More significantly, he couldn't get rid of the image of those sharp violet eyes. He murmured to himself, "Get it together, Stevens," as he made his way through the packed aisles of his neighborhood grocery store. She's not from Earth. She's probably halfway across the galaxy already. Interstellar interactions are also far too complex. Just the long-distance calls would wipe you out. He almost ran into another customer because he was so engrossed in his inner monologue. "Sorry, I wasn't looking where—" He found himself staring into the same captivating eyes that had been tormenting his dreams, and words died in his mouth. Luna stood in front of him, her huge sweatpants and sweatshirt making her appear hilariously out of place. Her baseball cap covered her white hair, yet there was no concealing her skin's vibrant blue tone. Her voice was melodic and quiet as she replied, "Greetings, Mike of Earth. I think I could use some help with your archaic methods of obtaining food." Mike blinked, then grinned broadly. "Moon! Nice to meet you in this place. I really like the disguise, by the way. A college student who woke up at noon." Luna cast a furrowed gaze downward at her clothing. "Is it insufficient?" "We carefully examined your TV shows to choose the proper camouflage." "It's perfect," Mike said with a laugh. "If your intention is to fit in with the group of people who just pulled an all-nighter, who am I to judge, though?" One day, I arrived at work wearing my shirt inside out. Luna's lips began to tug slightly in a smile. "I'm still confused about your kind, but I'm drawn in. Maybe you could tell me more about the nuances of Earth food," Mike said with an elaborate bow. "It would be my genuine pleasure, although I should warn you my culinary expertise extends mostly to ordering takeout and microwave frozen dinners." Mike could not help but smile as they browsed the store, seeing Luna's reactions to commonplace objects. She was amazed. Surprised by the assortment of fruits and vegetables, flinched away in disgust when they saw canned Spam. "You willingly consume this gelatinous meat substance?" And were completely enthralled with the idea of breakfast cereal. "So, these are edible food instead of just colorful pebbles?" Luna inquired while looking at a box of Fruit Loops. Upon close inspection. "Well, sustenance might be going too far," Mike chuckled. "But they taste great. Let's take a look at this box. Think of it as a crash course on Earth culture." Luna ten-scened when they got to the cashier. "Mike," she frantically muttered, "I think we've been compromised. That mechanical apparatus is difficult. Money." The cashier, who appeared bored, gave Mike a frown when he couldn't contain his laughter. "It's only a self-checkout machine, so relax. I'll demonstrate how to use it for you now." He led Luna through the procedure, observing her intense focus as she tried to get the hang of things. Novel technology. Mike discovered that he didn't want their interaction to end as they were leaving the store. "So, what are your plans for the remainder of the day? I know this wonderful little park nearby that would be ideal for a picnic with your freshly acquired Earth foods, if you have some free time." Luna wavered, a fleeting look of doubt appearing on her face. "I ought to go back to my sister's. We need to talk about our mission in detail." "Yes, the entire Conquer Earth concept," Mike replied while attempting to mask his disillusionment. "By the way, how's that coming along? Achieving any headway toward global dominance?" A worried expression brushed over Luna's appearance. "It is difficult. I'm starting to doubt the viability of our original plan. Your universe is significantly more intricate than we thought." A beat missed in Mike's heart. Could it be that she was second-guessing herself? He made the decision to use his advantage. "Well, if you inquire, I believe that first-hand experience is the best way to fully comprehend a planet. Say what you will about a string of cultural exchange excursions." Naturally, only for research purposes. Luna's curious eyes glowed. A sensible suggestion. Yes, I think these kinds of trips may be quite educational. Additionally, this marked the start of what Mike would later describe as the most bizarre yet exciting time he had ever spent dating. He took Luna on a fast-paced tour of Earth's biggest hits over the course of the following few weeks, including music festivals, the pounding bass, movies, she loved sci-fi, much to Mike's pleasure, and movies, almost put her in a fighting trance, and food, of course. Luna approached the slice of pizza with the caution of someone defusing a bomb, but once she tasted it, she quickly gobbled up half of the pie. Their pizza date was especially memorable for this reason. "This is amazing," she said, looking at the cheese, cascading down her jaw. "How have you not employed this as a mass distraction weapon?" With a smile, Mike gave her a napkin. "Who asks?" "Ertz, that we haven't. It's probably the only thing to blame for the freshman 15. During Mike and Luna's stay, there were several amusingly embarrassing situations due to cultural miscommunications, collectively. Once, supposing it to be some kind of ritualized combat, Luna tried to join the action on the field during a baseball game, almost starting a riot. Then there was the movie theater incident where she issued a challenge to a duel with a cardboard standee. Thinking it was a rival fighter, Mike couldn't get rid of the persistent feeling that their time was running out. Despite his desire to think otherwise, he was aware that Luna still had a job and an obligation to her people. In other words, he couldn't forget that Luna was from a different planet. Luna's fellow Amazons, meanwhile, were off on their own adventures. All around the city, there were reports of strangely attractive blue women who behaved strangely. One gang created a disturbance at a nightclub by using the dance floor as a fighting arena, while another who, thinking that a foreign embassy was Earth's seat of power, almost sparked a global issue by trying to take control of one. Despite Luna's best efforts, it was evident that her warriors were growing more and more infatuated with earthly customs. Mike frequently saw glimpses of their animated talk about human conventions, clothes, and most often men, permeated their conversations. One evening, while Mike and Luna were strolling through a park under the moonlight, it all came to a head. After leaving a concert, Luna was still giddy with anticipation. "I was unaware of your species was able to convey such a strong emotional response with sound waves," she said. "The music seemed to be a tangible force in and of itself." Mike smiled, like her passion. Indeed, nothing compares to live music quite like it. The mosh pit, unfortunately, was probably not quite ready for your erroneously passionate involvement. Luna had the grace to display a hint of shyness. "I might have misunderstood the purpose of that specific ceremony, but the enthusiasm of the assembly was exhilarating." "Does it always seem that way?" "Not every time," Mike acknowledged. "But wow, there's no feeling like it when it happens. It's as if, for a split second, everyone in that throng is connected. Everyone is feeling the same and moving to the same beat. It's enchanted." He fell silent, abruptly conscious of their proximity. Luna's eyes were intensely focused on his face, glowing in the moonlight. Things caused his heart to race. "I think I get it," she mutely remarked. "Mike from Earth. I have experienced something similar in the last few weeks, a bond I can't quite put my finger on but can't help but feel." Mike forced a swallow and felt his lips get dry. "Luna, However, before he could complete his "as Luna was thinking," a loud beeping noise came from her wrist. She looked at the device and her face sank. With a tense voice, she said, "It's my superior. A progress report on our conquest of Earth is what they're demanding." And the enchantment was broken in an instant. Mike was suddenly reminded of reality, of the impassable distance between them. He took a step back and forced a smile that he didn't feel. "Yes, the whole alien invasion thing. For a little while, I almost forgot about that." Luna appeared stunned. "Mike, It was his time to interrupt her now, though. Luna, don't worry. Really, I comprehend. You have people to lead and a job to complete. Can't interstellar dominance be hampered by a tiny thing like whatever this is? As he turned to leave, a sudden ache in his chest. Luna's hand stopped on his arm. Him. She added in an unexpectedly unsure voice, Mike, please. I'm experiencing conflict. My obligation, my whole reason for being here, all of it feels so much less significant now. This world and these experiences are altering all I understood about you. Mike retreated, hope battling caution in his heart. Luna, what are you saying? She inhaled deeply and squared her shoulders like she was ready for combat. I'm arguing that maybe conquest isn't the solution. Maybe there's another way for our peoples to get along, learn from one another, and coexist. The significance of her remarks hovered between the two of them. Mike was aware that they were on the verge of a significant event that may alter not just their own lives, but also the course of two different planets. Well, that sounds like a mission, he finally remarked, a slow smile creeping across his face. Worth investigating in tandem. Luna smiled back, her smile as soft as the first light of day. Together, she said, as she took his hand. Mike couldn't help but smile as they strolled across the park under the moonlight, with the endless possibilities of the future unfolding before them. You know, he thought reflectively, when I wanted my life to get more thrilling, this isn't really how I had it in mind. However, I must admit that I'm not whining. The rich, sincere laughter of Luna reverberated throughout the night. And for a split second, all other concerns, aliens invading our planet, miscommunications between cultures, the fate of two worlds vanished. Only this existed. Two entities from other planets, strolling hand in hand beneath the stars, prepared to take on whatever challenges the cosmos may present. Subscribe to watch more amazing sci-fi stories.